Tonight, the Target 12 investigators uncover startling details tied to the heroin epidemic and local children being born drug dependent. We've learned the number of local babies born with a dependency on this devastating drug has more than doubled in recent years.
We wanted to know why and what's being done to slow that trend. Target 12 investigator Rhode joins us now with the details.
Babies who are dependent on heroin are said to go from 0 to 60 fast, from quiet to screaming, with virtually no way to calm them down.
Chase. Yay!
10-month-old Jace was born with what is known as neonatal abstinence syndrome, or NAS. While your baby needs to eat or be swaddled to soothe them without drugs, almost nothing can calm a child with NAS.
She's in daycare right now.
When Jace's mother got pregnant, she was on methadone trying to kick heroin. Methadone would have also impacted Jace.
For me, it was drugs.
But then she relapsed. You used heroin while you were pregnant?
While I was pregnant, and that got me involved with DCYF. You just feel like the lowest person on earth, allowing your innocent newborn baby to go through that. It's horrible. I don't know how I ever could do it again and again.
According to data we obtained from the Rhode Island Department of Health, the number of newborns with NAS rose along with the rate of heroin overdoses starting about 2 years ago. Jace is part of that trend that's moving sharply higher. We found in 2005, more than 4 Rhode Island babies per 1,000 were born with NAS. Through the first part of 2014, the number more than doubled to 11 per 1,000.
He's just the most amazing baby.
Nicole tells us Jace was in the hospital for about a month as he was weaned from the opiate. How hard is it to watch your baby go through those withdrawals?
I cried daily. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would have nightmares, and I would wake up in the middle of the night and just jump in my car and go to the hospital. I was so scared.
We're talking about...
Local clinicians tell Target 12 children with NAS have up to 25 symptoms, including extreme irritability, muscle stiffness, vomiting, breathing issues, and a distinctive high-pitched cry.
This high-pitched cry, you know, we know how to define a pain cry. This is a pain cry.
Brown University Professor Barry Lester is head of the Center for the Study of Children at Risk at Brown and Women and Infants.
This study is being done.
He tells us there are natural ways to help a baby live without heroin, including acupuncture, but drugs are used as well. He's conducting a clinical trial to potentially determine whether methadone or morphine works best. Either way, Lester says the process of eliminating the infant's dependency is heartbreaking.
You put the baby on your shoulder and rock them like typically you would do. And instead of, you know, kind of snuggling into your shoulder and relaxing, they'll arch, they'll push back.
Tonight at 6, a look at one possible treatment for these infants and their mothers, and also one possible reason why we've seen very few, if any, long-term studies on this problem. With the Target 12 investigators in Providence, Walt Buteau, Eyewitness News.
Now, the Target 12 investigators with new details on a frightening trend. Local babies born drug dependent. At 5, we show you how the number of newborns with this crippling dependency has more than doubled during Rhode Island's heroin epidemic. We also introduced you to Jace and his mother, a recovering addict.
He was in the hospital about a month. It was terrible. It was really hard to see him go through that.
Now new at 6, we take you inside the only program in the state that allows children to live with their mothers while they try to get back on their feet. Plus, we found out there's virtually no research on the long-term prognosis for these kids. Target 12 investigator Walt Buteau has more on what he uncovered.
Target 12 found out money is impacting not only research, but treatment as well. Nicole started using heroin as a teenager.
She's in daycare right now.
And has tried to beat the addiction several times. Can you put into words how hard it is to kick this habit?
It's so hard that you feel like you're gonna die. It's like the flu times 100.
Chase. Yay!
She was pregnant with Jace during a relapse.
Hi, Chase!
And is now living in Starbirth and Cranston.
He's just the most amazing baby.
Where she's undergoing counseling for her addiction and to figure out how she'll make it as a single mom when she leaves.
These women want to do well. They want to parent their children. They want to work. They want to live a healthier life.
The 12 beds here are the only ones in the state that allow the mother and the child to live together. But Govea tells Target 12 the bigger problem is the medical plan time limits imposed on how long moms can stay here. She says it may save money in the short run, but in her opinion, the cost of a relapse involving a mom in prison and a child in state custody is not worth it.
We're going to be paying in many other ways, and in my opinion, a much greater cost in the long run than what we're trying to do now.
Is the funding keeping up with the rise in the problem?
Not from where I sit.
It's very heartbreaking. The baby's in pain.
Brown professor Barry Lester is conducting a clinical trial on whether methadone or morphine works better for weaning babies off opiates, including heroin and some prescription drugs. The research will follow the cases until the children are 18 months old. What do we know long term about these children with NAS?
Nothing. There are no long-term follow-up studies specifically of babies with NAS.
He believes one reason for the lack of research on the long-term impact is this was an inner-city problem, but it isn't anymore.
What we're seeing now is something that cuts across all social classes, all races.
Statistics for NAS are running about a year behind, so we'll find out where this trend is heading sometime next year. With the Target 12 investigators, Walt Buteau, Eyewitness News.